Okay, welcome everybody to the very first May 14, 2026 UDIPLO community call. As with all Linux Foundation calls, this is held under the Linux Foundation antitrust and competition policy. If you have any questions about these matters, please contact your company counsel, or if you're a member of the Linux Foundation, contact Andrew Updegrove of the firm Gesmer Updegrove LLP. It is also held under the Linux Foundation Code of Conduct, which can best be described as be excellent to each other, and we're going to get a ton of work done. I am going to make a bold statement that I've been doing this for a while, and this is the first time we've had a launch meeting for a new project where we've had people show up. So thank you so much, everybody. I was afraid this was just going to be me and Mirko talking about vacation planning. This is great to see everyone. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mirko Molick, who is the maintainer and initial contributor of EUDIPLO. Mirko, this is your call. Take it away, buddy.
Thank you, Sean. And yeah, also from my side, a warm welcome to everyone who joined this day. I honestly haven't prepared any slides, any agenda. So yeah, you can participate a lot in this. Based on your names, forgive me when I don't know you, and therefore I don't know if you already actively contributed or use it the project. So I would give the floor more to you. Like, what's your question, or is any one of you saying he or she has no idea what EUDIPLO is?
Everyone should be able to speak up. This is not a closed meeting, so by all means.
This is Tim. I guess I'll jump in. I don't know if we do introductions or what, but yeah, I'm interested in I've been using. I work for the government of Ontario. We've been a long time contributor on the Akapai Aries ecosystem and all of that. Very interested in the EduPLO project in terms of alignment with our current direction. So just looking at whether or not it'll be a fit and looking to contribute to the project. Two things I'm interested in right now. One is PKCS11 support for HSM. I know that there's some support there for Azure and other things, but want to do the full signature in the HSM, and also more decoupling of the auth server, even for pre-authorized flow. I'm interested in looking at that as well. Otherwise, yeah, just happy to contribute wherever possible. I'm familiar with the project and have it running, and I've been playing with it for a little while. Thanks.
All right. Mirko, is it okay if I introduce myself and then pick the next person?
Yeah, sure.
All right, awesome. My name is Sean Bohan. I'm a community architect at the Linux Foundation. I got started in decentralized identity back in 2017 when my team contributed Hyperledger Indy, which then became Aries, which then became Ursa, to Linux Foundation. Specifically, it was called Hyperledger at the time. Now it's Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. And in 2021, I joined the Linux Foundation as a community architect. So my job is to work with the projects and the developers and the maintainers and folks who are new to our community, help them get onboarded, help them find a project, help them get resources that they need. And I get to hang out with awesome people like Tim and Mirko. And I'm excited by UDIPLO for a number of reasons, not just because it's Mirko's project, but also I really like the direction that it's going in and the fact that it describes itself as opinionated. I like that a lot. And with that, I'm going to call on someone. If you don't feel like introducing yourself, you don't have to. But Francesco, how are you doing? Oh, we lost someone.
Hi, and we are from Intesi Group, is a European QTSP, and we already know Mirko. We had some call in the past, and we are evaluating to use EUDIPLO in our EUD wallet, in our EUD wallet implementation. So we are here and we want to understand better how to use it. And in the code there are also three colleagues of mine, so we are evaluating the use of Unip, and we are very interested in it.
That's awesome. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Sebastian, if you'd like to introduce yourself, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, we would love it.
Hello, hello everyone, no problem at all. I'm French, as you can hear, and I'm working for Worldline. So Mirko, maybe you already know about us a bit. We had a few bugs that we asked you about last week, I think, and you really kindly unlock us on these subjects. I'm working with Cyril also. Maybe we discussed with you on what the server, the chat server, what is called again?
The Discord server.
The Discord server, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, we are trying to create some product around EUDIPLO and to provide some services within the Worldline company. And we are really excited to be able to contribute to EUDIPLO and to continue to use it. So yeah, as everyone here, I'm really excited to be part of this adventure. I have one question. I am technical, but I didn't really review how EUDIPLO works. But I think we had a question from my French team. They were asking, how do you test EUDIPLO with your? Do you test it with some wallet of yours, or maybe it's more for Mirko? I'm not sure, but because we were wondering, we are testing it with some wallets, and maybe we will try to test it with France Identité, which is the French wallet. But how do you test it yourself? I don't know if that's kind of question that you can answer.
I can answer it. I've written all your questions, etc. down. I would suggest we are first finishing the introduction round, and then we can go through the different question or topics you want to get insights.
Thank you very much.
That'd be awesome. Thank you. Next up, Carmine. Welcome. If you don't have to introduce yourself, if you don't feel like it, but if you'd like to, by all means, go right ahead. All right, no worries, Carmine. Dribaudo, if you'd like to.
Yeah. Sorry. Hello, everybody. I'm Daniele Ribaudo. As Francesco said, I'm from Tesi Group, European Italian QTSP. And we already know Mirko Molik. We had in the past a meeting discussing about EUDIPLO. We are interested in this development. We had a phase where we focused on other topics. Now we need to start again discussing on wallet, EUD wallet, and this wonderful development EUDIPLO. So we are interested to check how we can use it in our infrastructure and what are the evolution on this development.
Super. Great to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us. If anyone else would like to introduce themselves, that'd be great. Otherwise, we're going to jump into the conversation. I think we got a couple of questions from one team. Did I miss anybody? All right, I think I got everybody. Mirko, over to you.
Yes. So maybe also a quick introduction from my side, since maybe not everyone knows me or my background. I have a background in cybersecurity. Also founded a startup in the blockchain world, dealing with digital identity, which was not that successful. So last 2 years, I moved over to Sprint, the German agency of disruptive innovation that is dealing with the whole EUDI ecosystem in Germany, so not just the wallet. And around 1 year ago, I was thinking like, yes, we may have the wallet in the end in Germany, but when there are no open source issuer or verifier, the whole ecosystem or the wallet is kind of worthless because you need the ecosystem. So this was the reason to develop this whole project. And the best way for this was on my side to put it into the Open Wallet Foundation to make it a community-driven approach. So maybe driven by me, but in the future, hopefully there's a community building up that will contribute and yeah, influence it in the way where is the demand. Okay, so not to waste any time, Tim, I've noted down you are very interested in the PKSI support for HSM. I think there is already an open ticket, a GitHub ticket for it to work on it. Do you know if you have the resources to also implement it or just for testing?
We have the resources to implement it. We're kind of doing that right now on the Akapai side. So something I might want to look at. So there's now all the work we've done has been in Python. So the libraries we've tested with HSM and all that are all Python PKCS 11 libraries. So have to look at the stack, but something that we can look at.
Yeah. So it's issue 486. So in general, EUDIPLO has also the interface to support multiple key management systems. And the idea here is when that you can configure it per instance. So you can say, okay, EUDIPLO should run with the native key management system, which is encrypted keys in the database. Great for testing, not recommended, of course, in production. I started also with HashiCorp with the Vault because it was one of the open source projects you can run on premise. But technically, every other interface, either Azure or even PKCI, can be implemented. So just let me know if you want to take over this ticket for PKCI, or if you say, no, you can only test it in the end, but not implement it.
Yeah,
which is also
I will.
fine.
I'll let you know. I've got it to. We're just sort of looking. I just really started this discussion. I do have a question though, and I was looking at the code, and I'm pretty sure it will work. But my understanding is you're not required to pull the key, the private key into EduPilo memory right? This can be the signing can be purely on HSM.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So the default So EUDIPLO is designed that you can run it without, especially in testing phase, without any external dependency to spin up a demo or whatever. But of course, when going into production, to use an external key management system, which could be an HSM or anything else.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and I can certainly test it. We have access to enterprise grade HSM, so can we see if it works on one of the big providers.
This would be awesome. Yeah, just let me know in the ticket or Discord, whatever, what you can do or what you need from the project side, because I think a lot of other people would be interested in this feature.
Yeah, so we'll do.
Thank you. And then you had another topic. It was about the authentication server in the pre-auth flow, or have I misunderstood something?
That's correct. Yeah. So in a sort of enterprise deployment, really concerned. I know every issuer spins up their own auth server in a way, especially for pre-authorized for their own token endpoint. But really, the auth server is your hardened security layer that should be managed by an IAM team. And really, to me, I mean, this is the way I look at deployment. The issuer is your resource server. And I know for demos and things, and for a lot of use cases, it's useful to have the token endpoint as part of the issuer. But in the stuff I'm working on, I'm trying very much to separate that. The challenge is for pre-authorized. None of the big providers actually support pre-authorized code flow, at least not right now, and maybe they never will. Who knows? But there are some vendors that do support it. Keycloak supports it. Some of the European cloud providers do as well. So I did look at the code, and I think it'd be a very small change to actually have the pre-authorized code come from an external auth server, as opposed to be internally generated through an API call. And when we've done that with Akapai as well, where there's an API you can request the authorization code, and then you can verify it in the token.
Understood. My question would be, Awesome. My question would be, why should the authorization server in this situation be hardened or any specific requirements? Because it's the pre-authorized code, which means there is absolutely no authorization step involved.
So it's not so much the code. The pre-authorization code is traded off for a token, but after that you have depop, you have attestation, you have refresh tokens. All of that life cycle really should be managed by verification of the token, whether JKSs or introspection. All of that really should be handled by an enterprise grade authorization server. If it's just trading off the code, it wouldn't really matter. And that's where most of them, including that implementation that we have started with, the token was a simple verification, issue a token if you give me a code. But once you start layering on all of these other security layers, it starts to get a little more exposed. So anyway, the thought is that having whether pre-authorized or authorized using an external authorization server that is commercial or at least supported through some kind of an enterprise would be useful to some. Maybe not to others. I mean, this may be a large deployment type issue, but we have a large enterprise IAM team. They manage authorization servers, for example.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. I fully support it. Sean, maybe you can add a to-do that we make a ticket out of it to allow external authorization server also for the pre-auth code flow. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Pretty simple. Well, I might try to do it with a demo with Keycloak, and I'm still, as I said, the auth servers are still behind, so we'll see. I'm more experimenting right now. But yeah.
Yeah, right now I have external ones as a chained authorization server for the auth code flow. So you can use a native Keycloak that's doing the user authentication. But since Keycloak does not support all the other features like wallet unit attestation and so on, this is done by the authorization part in EUDIPLO. But also here, I'm happy to more decouple it so that somebody can say the whole authorization server part can be outsourced to an external service. Great.
Yeah. Looking at your chaining, it looked really interesting. I think Keycloak is almost there. They have Depop, and they're working on attestation spec as far as I can tell. I mean, they do a full issuance as well, but I don't think the authorization server is really responsible for that.
Yeah, we have to look at it. I looked a bit at it. The problem is with, okay, it's not their fault, but we don't have a final spec for wallet unit attestation, and this may be relevant for the whole EU to check in which wallet you are issuing your kind of credential.
Yeah,
So,
you're right. I mean, it's just I get confused with the EU terms, but I mean, there's two attestations, right? You're the attestation of the app and then of the unit itself. I'm only really interested in testing the app through key attestation. So yeah, that piece would be missing for the EU. I don't know if there's any plans there.
yeah, but I fully agree. Authorization server is a big topic that we should tackle task by task. Yeah, so really thank you to bring it up here. Next in my note, I had Francesco. You had a more general question like how to use it. Could you specify this a bit more? So have you looked at the documentation, or is there something missing, or is this a more general question?
No, I don't have any question. I ask my colleague can they answer because they are looking into the EUDIPLO. In any case, we have not yet installed VIP, and we plan to use as a verifier in the EUD wallet ecosystem. We are working to set up an ecosystem with a verifier and also a QA. But we have not yet installed, I think. Carmine or Simone, can you help me, please? And probably we will start in the next few weeks to install it and to look deeply in the documentation. And Daniele or Carmine?
I have a question regarding the HSM integration, specifically for the interface PKS. Sorry, just a moment. We have some noise.
So I think for the HSM, we will go with the standard approach to integrate HSM, so no proprietary. I think it's this PKCS hashtag 11 or so.
Yeah. Well, we are interested to this integration because as QTSP, to issue a qualified attribute, it's our target. We have to use an HSM or a qualified HSM on FIPS under FIPS profile, protection profile, or common criteria protection profile. So I think from our side, we are not able to use let me say cloud native solution like HSM. We have on our data center a specific HSM. We are talking about marketplace HSM. So for example, Thales or Entrust. And I have seen in your issue that there is a sort of priority on integration of this integration, where PKCS 11 is just the last one. So I want to ask you if there is a way to change this priority, or from your side, the request from the other community component is to integrate the cloud native HSM before the hardware, let me say, the on-premise HSM.
By the way, you can already use it via Vault, which is maybe not the recommended way you want to do it, because I think you need an enterprise license for HashiCorp Vault. But technically, you could use EUDIPLO, route it to your own HashiCorp Vault, and then route it to your HSM. So this is already possible by today, but yeah, based on your feedback right now, I would try to prioritize the direct connection so that we do not have a dependency on Vault here. Okay, thank you for this.
Thank you.
For the in the documentation, there is a getting started guide. If you get stuck, feel free to reach out either via Discord or in the community meetings we will have every 2 weeks from now on. Okay, then Sebastian was asking about the testing. So there is some automative testing and some manual testing. In the documentation, we have a page called Wallet Compatibility. I will put it also in the chat. And in this list, I'm trying to document the wallets that I used for testing. Of course, I don't have the time to test all the wallets because they are changing all the time. And so therefore, I'm primarily using the Paradigm wallet from Animal, which I personally very like, and then the reference implementation of the EU Commission. They are providing a build APK for Android that I'm using for testing. And in the GitHub CI, the OpenID Foundation test suite is running for the OpenID for VP type profile and the OpenID for VCI profile.
Okay, thank you very much. That's clear.
Yeah. Of course, when you want to add any other wallet to the list or have improvements for the test mechanisms, reach out anytime. to test this compatibility, because unfortunately there's no generalized test framework where we could say, here are all the wallets and just automate the testing all the time.
Yeah. Okay, we will do. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I know that the German reference, the German national EUDI wallet is compatible to it. And somebody told me on Discord that also the French wallet is compatible or is working with it. Yeah.
But we will test it this week, so I will confirm that.
Thank you very much. Good. I think I have all my notes through. Have I missed anything, or do you have now more questions or topics you want to address here?
So it's Tim here. I do have one question, and I don't know if you can answer or not, but I know you work with I guess, and I'm pronouncing all these things incorrectly, but the Spring deal, basically the research side of the German EUDI. I think that's correct, right? I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, in terms of adoption, is the plan for this tool any kind of adoption in Germany, or is it more for or is that unknown at this point, something that's started for research? I'm just sort of curious if there's that kind of planning yet for it.
From Sprint perspective, it's not the official issuer or verifier. So it's a project under the umbrella of the Open Wallet Foundation. However, I know that multiple German companies are using EUDIPLO in the German sandbox right now. And I know that also bigger enterprises operating worldwide are also planning to use it into production. So yeah, so I think also it's in the pull request to go to grow. So the Intesi group from Italy is rolling it out. The Raiffeisen Bank International will use it in production, and then also multiple other companies are planning to use it also in production.
Oh, that's amazing progress. I watched when it first was announced and how fast you've moved this product forward. I think being very narrowly focused has helped, like having been very opinionated on a set of tech has helped keep things fully, I guess, moving quickly. Like one of the things that Occupy which you work with is it does everything, and that's great. But sometimes it's also it's a lot. So that's good to hear.
Also to highlight here, I haven't developed everything from scratch. So for example, the OpenID for VC libraries are already in the Open Wallet Foundation, provided, I think, by Timo and his colleagues. The SDJ implementation is in the Open Wallet Foundation, where I contributed, and Lucas. The token status list is in the Open Wallet Foundation. So a lot of base or core libraries are in the Open Wallet Foundation, used as a basis and also reused in EUDIPLO, because there's no reason from legal perspective or license perspective to write everything from scratch.
Yeah, no, that's actually that's saying that's a really good point. Yeah, and that's also another thing that it really almost is the Open Wallet Foundation stack in a way, or at least a good part of it, which I like.
I'd like to point out that I did not pay Tim to say that. Just kidding.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, do we have any other questions? I think Thomas and Simone also joined the call. So hello. If you want to introduce yourself, feel free to do so. It's not a requirement. Okay, maybe next time.
Oh, no
Okay,
problem,
yeah.
Simone. That happens to all of us.
Simone, also fine when you have any questions, just type them into the chat, and then we have a chance to answer them. Same, of course, for the other participants. Yeah.
And I'm going to share the link to Discord. If you'd like to join our Discord, by all means, EUDIPLO has its own channel. You're more than welcome to join. Everybody's welcome. And that link will get you into our Discord. The usual rules apply. So the code of conduct still applies inside our Discord. But Mirko is there frequently, and he's a great contributor there as well. So if you do have a question, by all means, don't be shy. This meeting is every other week at the same time, 3 p.m. CEST. So those of us who are coming in on the West Coast of the United States at 6 in the morning, thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, we're not meeting next week. We're meeting the following week, which would be Wednesday, May 27th.
Yeah.
3 p.m.
20. But Thursday is 28th.
I'm sorry, Mirko, I apologize. It's going to be on Thursday, May 28th, because I don't know how calendars work and I don't know what day it is. So yes, Thursday, May 28th, 2 weeks from today, we're going to meet at the same time, and everyone is welcome.
I'm not 100% sure if I can make it because I will be also in the OAuth security workshop taking place at Leipzig, Germany. So in case you are there, reach out to me. But yeah.
Awesome. Simone asked, "Hey everybody, I'm trying to install EUDIPLO in these days, and maybe next time I'll have more questions." No worries, Simone. And Simone, the Discord is also, if you have a question in the moment, by all means, you can put the question there too.
Yeah, also please reach out to me anytime if the install description or something is not or is confusing or missing some specific parts, so they can be adjusted. Docker containers are provided for, I think, all distributions, and also there should be information also how to deploy it in a production way with either Kubernetes, and also how to harden it, also how to add monitoring with OpenTelemetry. So yeah. What hasn't done yet, what's on the agenda next is benchmark. The critical part here is since there is no test or benchmark profile out there to test verifiers or issuers, I think we have to define it first. So yeah, always appreciated when you have any insights or best patterns for benchmark testing, because this field is new for me. Also, what I'm trying to do is to people who want to contribute but don't know which tasks are open. I'm trying to open tickets and mark them with a good first issue when I think these are small features or bugs that can be implemented without hundreds lines of code change. So this is hopefully a good way. No guarantee that I will take them by myself, because when I have some free time or so, I feel capturing myself taking over this. But let me know if you need more, if you want to contribute but have no idea where work is needed. Okay, do we have any other questions or topics from your side?
Alrighty. So I want to point out to everybody that you can find EUDIPLO already has a Discord channel. We've got a wiki page for the project. We have the GitHub, which is where most of the action is happening. This meeting is every 2 weeks. You're going to find this video in two places. The video that we've been talking through today can be found on the Discord. I'm going to post it there once the video encodes. And also, I'm going to put a link to the video in this wiki page. Where did it go? In the wiki page right here, so folks can see it. And Mirko, I'll reach out to you later to see if you want me to do a playlist on YouTube, and we can just syndicate these up to YouTube when we're done. But this has been a great session. Thank you for this, Mirko.
All right.
I would love.
Apologize for
Yeah, Tim,
interrupting.
go ahead.
On the minutes there, I just saw something that scroll down. It says the open on the adoption there. It went by really fast. No, it's fine. Sorry. Apologize. All good. I thought I saw something. It's okay.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks.
And Tim, I'm gonna blame the fact that I'm not a touch typist, so that's on me if if I didn't write down something properly or it was mistranscribed. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much, Mirko. Thank you so much to the EUDIPLO community for making this first meeting so great. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you all also for joining. Yes, Sean, for your question, please put it up on YouTube.
You got it.
So people are able to reach out to it. I think what we will not do is provide a test instance at Open Wallet Foundation, because the main problem would be that you cannot control what kind of information they are putting into the service. So I'm trying to make it hosting by yourself as easy as possible. If you're also interested in the legal topics, like what is EUDIPLO an intermediary according to EIDAS or a trust service provider, I can also answer or try to answer these questions if you like in the future. I just need to know what are your questions, what you know and what you don't know yet.
And I think one thing we can do, Mirko, is next Thursday, put a note in the Discord for, hey, call for topics. If anyone has a subject they want to discuss, we can at least line up something before a week before the meeting, give folks a chance to think about it. So that's a pretty great idea.
Is there anyone here in the call maybe that has problems to access Discord? So of course you could use Discord to communicate with me. You can open a GitHub issue. Choose the way you prefer, you find the easiest to do.
Awesome.
Okay. So if we don't have any more topics, which is totally fine, it's not the last call. So again, yes, thank you all for joining. We will also link the wiki in the Discord. I will go through it, the to-dos like opening the tickets, and then we can work on this. By the way, I don't really have a predefined release cycles. So on the main branch, there you will find always breaking changes. I'm trying to generate releases with also migration guides, etc. There is one big change coming. It's for the credential configurations for issuance that is coming. So this will be a major jump to version 5. This is also the open PR right now. I don't force anyone to review it because I still need to check by myself if more has to be changed. But yeah, so just to let you know, the latest and the versioned ones are stable. And the main one is the main branch that could be broken at some points. Of course, all this the CI, the end-to-end test have to pass, but you never know. Okay, so last chance to speak up.
All righty. Thank you so much, Marco. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for the first EUDIPLO call. I'm going to stop the recording.